Well, hello there, guys. It is QwertyAfro here. Welcome back to another video, and a little bit different today. As I said, coming back into this sort of resurgence with YouTube and the channel and how I'm sort of doing videos. I'm trying out some different ways of kind of like putting commentary and gameplay and stuff together. I thought today, as the game that I sort of started with this sort of kind of comeback for 2026 was Town to City. I'm going to continue that and use that as a kind of it's a great sort of, as I said, background game to kind of keep there and just, sometimes I might do a video where I'm just, doing the gameplay and explaining what I'm doing. But today I thought I'd bring you another video and just have Town to City is just playing in the background. I think I have about 50-ish minutes of gameplay, so we're going to have about maybe a 50-ish minute video with me just chatting and just, updating you guys and just giving you a little bit of more of like just a classic QWERTY kind of typical commentary video. And I have some stuff to talk about actually, because I think coming back this time round to YouTube has definitely been quite a bit of well, not an eye-opener, but it's been really first of all, with the comments and stuff that I've been receiving, I think of all of the hiatuses that I've kind of returned back to, and every time I've kind of come back to the channel, people have been like, oh my god, you're alive, and oh, it's so good to see you again with like videos. But I think this is the first time, I think ever, that I've kind of come back, and some of the kind of comments I've been getting have been just so, like, they've been kind of blowing my mind, because it makes me realize that, like, the people that do watch my channel, like, we've all kind of grown up together, because we were all sort of like, I don't know, teenagers, kids back when I started this channel, and people are now 10, 15 years older, and were still watching me, and then letting me know that they're still there, and that they watch my videos, and when they were this how many years old, and now they're this how many years old, and this is they're in a completely different sort of moment in their life. And likewise, myself, I'm in a completely different time in my life. So it's just really nice seeing that sort of contrast with your actual viewers, where it's kind of like, yeah, I've kind of moved on, I've kind of changed, and I'm in this sort of space. But also, I reading all, honestly, the comments have been, especially on the sort of first video that I posted with Town to City, I've read all the comments. I've been really trying to just be I've always been responsive with comments on my channel. I love interacting with you guys. I love reading your comments, and either if I interact with it, giving it like a heart, a like, if I reply back. One thing I've also seen is there's a new feature with YouTube comments, is that you can actually reply with a voice note, which, I don't know, that could be an interesting thing to give a go and try and see if I see a comment, and instead of maybe me kind of thinking, oh, let me just write this response, let me actually give you a voice note reply to it, because it could be something to try and see. I might test it out on some comments I see maybe in the future, or maybe even ones in the past. I'm not too sure, but it is a new feature. YouTube has also changed quite dramatically from like 3-4 years ago when I was last active. The amount of features that they've kind of put through, especially on the creator side, is quite vast. Even though I'm not been in the YouTube space, I still get kind of, because obviously I have a YouTube channel, I get kind of YouTube content creator emails, new features that get you utilize. They want you to utilize them and stuff like that. And the YouTube Studio and stuff like that's completely changed since when I remember when it was so basic back then, but now it's like, if you're a content creator on YouTube, it's actually quite a really, really, really good platform to like utilize all the sort of like tools that they give you and expose you to. So it's kind of a bit overwhelming. Someone that didn't really, I did my videos and stuff like that and used YouTube to whatever kind of capability I was using it at the time, but it's really cool to see the kind of new features and stuff that are kind of coming through. I think the last time I kind of was on YouTube or active on YouTube, that was the sort of start and the kind of the beginning of short form content. So you kind of like reels, TikToks, and YouTube Shorts. and I think YouTube Shorts just about came in, and I think I've only done like one short on the channel, which was like from like a train sim world video that I kind of edited, but I never really got into the sort of content creating of doing shorts, so I don't know how that's going to look for me on my channel, if I'm going to utilize kind of doing shorts or getting clips from videos. I'm not too sure. People can also clip my videos. I think I allow it that anyone can just like clip the audio and the actual video. So if people find anything interesting, the thing is, there's quite a lot of old stuff on my old videos that probably have like potential for so many sort of like clips or YouTube short kind of content form factors that there's so much, because back in the day when my videos were like sort of in their peak, there was so much kind of stuff that was just so memorable. I can, you know, remember a few. They always kind of live with me, those kind of little moments, but it's great. But those are the kind of videos back then that will probably be great to kind of go back and maybe even relive. Actually, that'd be cool. That'd be kind of a cool thing to do with YouTube shorts or short form content maybe for my channel, is maybe instead of going forward with new, well, even if new videos kind of, if anything kind of pops up and I can make some sort of YouTube short from it, great. Or even if I make pure YouTube short content where it's just nothing to do with any kind of video I've uploaded, I just upload a YouTube short. But I'm not sure how that's going to look like. I don't know if I want to utilize that, but maybe to kind of get a bit of a like a nostalgic kind of feel kind of with some of the old content. Maybe I might look through some of the old videos I've done, maybe find some of those old kind of catchphrases that the QwertyAfro channel was always kind of like known for, even from like streams and stuff back in the day when I was streaming on Twitch. Maybe if I find some of that, and maybe if that's kind of good golden nuggets there to kind of pick out and see if I can make that into short form content. So maybe that could be something that I could do. I don't know. Let me know your kind of thoughts of it. Clip away as well to your heart's content. If you want to find stuff and send it to me, and you know, remind me of certain things of back in the day of like videos in my channel, because I have so many. I think, I don't know how many videos I have. I think I have maybe over 400. If you find anything, do let me know. But let me know your thoughts on if you want to see kind of short form content, YouTube shorts and stuff like that on the channel. Would love to kind of know your kind of thoughts on that. Obviously in the background gameplay, it's just Town City. I kind of, in the sort of little gaming session I had with it, I kind of expanded a bit more of this little sort of town and kind of just upgraded stuff. I make like a few little kind of patches or like little unique things from like citizen requests. I think the last thing I do is I place like a water fountain. So I think I went quite to town with the kind of little bits of creativity and stuff like that. And you'll see it, you know, go through the gameplay as this video goes. But as I said, all the comments and stuff from the first kind of Town to City video that I've posted on the channel, and even the JR East train simulator video, lovely comments. I feel like a bit more engaged with kind of people that people are just posting such nice stuff. And as I kind of mentioned, this time coming back to YouTube and just seeing the sort of response and the sort of outpouring of kind of like, you know, I'm still here, you know, we're still watching your videos, and you know, thank you for like coming back, or like, you know, I've got so many comments of just, you know, realizing that people like my channel meant something to people back in the day, whether it be, you know, people going through stuff and then they're just putting my video on and it just makes their day better. Small stuff like that, you know. And it just, I think sometimes it's just, I never really think about that kind of side of things. I just, you know, I make the videos because it's just my sort of creative outlet. So I'm just doing that, and obviously I'm interacting with, you know, people for comments and stuff like that, or whatever. When I was live streaming, I'd be doing it for like the chat and stuff like that. But I never really like sat down and really thought about that kind of other aspect of it, where I might be providing something to people as a sort of escape outlet for them as well. So a lot of people did mention that my videos did, you know, was something for them in the past, and even still to this day, to presently. But really, like, I appreciate all the comments. Like, I have some of the comments actually up here on my screen as well. But to people like Sam Rogers 7896, to Andrew Melbourne Transport, Games UK YouTube, Blackman the Third, you know, Noonie_2, uh, Luke Tucker, uh, you know, Ultra Fox Edits, and a few others, but just really, I appreciate the comments and I appreciate the time, you know, to just, you know, because to write you know, a comment that's basically like a paragraph as well, to me, that's like almost like you're writing me a letter in some kind of ways, if you kind of think about it. And I really appreciate that, you know, my channel has meant something, and that you're even still here, and, you know, you bother to kind of like check your feed and see that like I've posted again in such a long time. And you know, that's for me. Like I know this comeback, even though like people might see, and some people have commented like, what's the point of coming back? Like, you just quit or whatever. But you know, the engagement I have from just a few people is just so nice to see. And look, and I'm not gonna. The thing is, with taking these kind of big gaps in YouTube, it's not really advisable. If I was doing this purely for like a like monetary kind of like trying to make money or trying to get views, trying to get subscribers, it's obviously I'm not doing YouTube that well. Like, I'm not the blueprint for a really good YouTube channel. Maybe back in the day when I was actually active and I was, you know, publishing a lot of videos and, you know, on that sort of like hype train of getting views and stuff like that. Because there's a way to do it. Look, there is a way to do YouTube where you're consistent with it. You know, you look at your particular analytics, you pick out things that people want to watch, you get, you know, catchy thumbnails, you get catchy hooks in the title, stuff like that. There, you know, there's obviously ways there to increase your viewership and increase that sort of viewer retention, to keep people, you know, coming back to the channel, you know, for them to subscribe, etc. And obviously that has a monetary gain. Like, you know, people do YouTube for a living. It is a platform that you can actually make money on. But obviously, for me, maybe there was a time back then when I was doing it in the constant swing of things. Like, yeah, it was making me some money. It was, you know, not like a full-time job kind of situation, but it was a nice little kind of side hustle. And foremost, I enjoyed just doing it first. And then, you know, the making money of it was just a really nice bonus. But it did get to some points where I think I was in the sort of machine of it, where I think when I finished university and I kind of, I was in sort of period where I was not in full-time employment, and until I got like sort of a part-time job, I tried to do YouTube as a kind of, well, kind of like a job. But it was more so that I had a lot more free time as I wasn't employed, that I could just, you know, sit down, do videos and actually commit to actually creating content, which was nice in itself initially. But I think at some point, I realized, no, I don't think YouTube could be a sort of career path for me. I respect people that do YouTube full time and do content creation, whether it be sort of like live streaming, etc. But doing it full time in that sort of period where I had the opportunity to do it full time, I realized that this was not something that I would even want to. Even if, say, I got like, I don't know, 100,000, a million subscribers, I don't think I would be happy doing it as a job. I like just doing it as like a side hobby, like just making videos when I want to. And it's just that sort of creative outlet that's also one thing I think, as I've like gotten older, and I think I did reply to certain comments, you know, when people were saying, oh yeah, welcome back, it's great that you want to make videos again. And I think the biggest thing for me over the years, while I've been in these sort of pauses and hiatuses from YouTube, is that I didn't have the sort of passion and creativity to really make videos. But then on the other side of that, I've kind of, you know, years have gone by and I'm realizing to myself, like, because, you know, I'm a train driver in real life, I do shift work, you know, I'm quite an active person, I do, you know, sports, I go to the gym, I have quite a like a balanced life of doing things or whatever, but I don't really do anything sort of creatively. I don't really play musical instruments. I used to when I was a kid. I used to play piano. I still have a piano, or like a keyboard piano, and I've not really touched it in years. I used to, when I was a kid, do a lot of art and a lot of like making sculptures, painting, etc. My family does my family's actually quite artistic. Like, sister does a bit of art and stuff like that. Well, doesn't do it currently, but she does a lot of art. My mother was quite artistic. My parents on my mother's side were quite good at like drawing and crocheting and all these kind of there's quite like a creative sort of gene within the sort of family. But I realized getting older that I kind of wasn't doing anything. I was not, I'm not, picking up a pencil and sketching anymore, or a paintbrush and doing a bit of painting. And then I thought to myself, actually, was there any sort of creative thing that I was doing getting older? But then YouTube was that sort of thing for me. It was that sort of video production, editing, recording, doing gameplay and stuff like that. And I think coming back again now with these couple of videos and just kind of really thinking about like how I want to do YouTube again, or getting back into it, it's like, actually, I do miss this sort of kind of creative outlet for me. Even though some people might, I think it is a kind of creative outlet, because you are producing something, you are creating something. I'm making a video, whether it be this kind of like sit down talk podcasty kind of style, it is still something that I'm producing and something that I'm creating and something I've thought about sitting down and doing and just committing to actually making something. And I think that sort of process was something that was quite lacking from me, and I realized that I do need something to kind of keep my mind actively creative, because it's very easy as you get older to kind of lose that kind of, you kind of get into the sort of cycle of like go to work, do whatever, see whoever, and then you don't have that sort of kind of me time to do stuff, to explore stuff creatively, because not everyone has the time, or life doesn't really give you the opportunity to go like, oh well, I'm going to just sit down and just take a bit of paper and the paintbrush and some watercolors and I'm just going to paint. Obviously there's creative people that do that for their sort of like career where they're doing that, but I'm just talking about the average person that has the typical job. There's the typical things, maybe is active, maybe goes and travels a bit or whatever, but having that time where you can just sit down and not do anything and then just do something creatively and make something is, it's quite powerful. And obviously you see a lot of people as they get older in the sort of later stages of life, that's where like the creativity, or sort of like stuff like model making, knitting, and all that kind of stuff, that's where it kind of comes up. But really it should start somewhere a lot earlier where you're kind of doing that. And I think for me YouTube was that kind of thing, and coming back to it now and just sitting down talking to a mic and just thinking of what this video is going to be, and then what the next video etc is going to be, it's kind of reignited that sort of creative passion that I think I've been lacking, to be quite honest. It is there, it is lacking. Like my work is shift work based. I'm on early shifts certain weeks, and then I'm on late shifts, and then I'm just like back and forth, balancing that. And the job is quite responsible. Being a train driver is not one of those things that you can just go in, say like you can go into like an office, maybe you're having a bit of an off day, you might not be getting things done properly, and it doesn't matter. You might have your manager or whatever might have a little word with you, and you can just you can do like a little mistake or something like that, and you just crack on with the day, and you come back another day, you do that goal, you do that deadline, etc. But with obviously train driving, I have to go into work, I have to basically be perfect in what I do, because if I do a mistake, it can lead into an incident, it can lead into whatever. And that's I think that's the sort of part of the job I think people don't really appreciate. Train drivers do kind of get a bad rep, and the whole kind of thing, the kind of general consensus, oh yeah, you're always on strike, etc, you want more money, whatever. But the actual behind the scenes kind of thing of it's a lot tougher of a job that people don't, I think, appreciate, because you have to go in unsociable hours, whatever, for shift work, but the actual job itself, you have to be sort of perfect at it. There's no kind of, I can't slag off and just be like, well, I'm going to be at like 40-50% today because I'm just not feeling it. Just as I was saying with the example of like if you go into an office, and or any other sort of job where you might, I'm not saying that all jobs don't have that kind of preface of you need to basically do it, but it's a safety critical job. That's what I'm trying to kind of put out there or convey. It's a safety critical job, other safety critical jobs, you know, entail where you're operating stuff or doing stuff where if you fuck up or, you know, do something wrong, or you don't give your 100% to it to complete whatever or do whatever, you know, people could die, people could get hurt, people could get injured, etc. It's that kind of preface. And I think that for like train driving, it's like people don't appreciate that, you know, you go in, you have to do your job basically perfectly, because if you don't do it perfectly, you know, you could be out of a job, you could cause, you know, serious harm, or, you know, it could lead into kind of major disasters. And not saying like that all the kind of major railway disasters out there have all been sort of train driver related, but most of them can be train driver related, and then others can, you know, be environmental, etc., whatever. But all I'm trying to say is that, you know, I go in and I have to basically perform to the best. Like, I have to just, you know, I can't just half-ass driving a train. It's it doesn't work like that. And I think other jobs, you have that sort of capability in those kind of other roles that are, you know, not safety critical, where you can kind of half-ass some stuff and you can go home and nothing will be sort of, you know, you might get a little slap on the wrist and be like, yeah, it's fine, come back, do better tomorrow, kind of sort of thing. So that kind of part of my job kind of, I don't know, I don't think about it too much, but it definitely does have some sort of kind of effect where, you know, you have to go in, do that, perform to that sort of kind of ability, and obviously you're doing shift work, so you're swapping the kind of like going from early to late to coming in at god awful times like 3-4 a.m. in the morning, and you know tired, but you need to be fully rested for that, and then perform at that kind of level at that point in time during the day, and then you're coming in late, so you're going home late, you're coming home late. There's so much about the role that you know, people don't, I think, appreciate. And I think this point in the game, this point in the game, I kind of, I think, got my next kind of milestone level for the city, so I think I upgrade and get more kind of like things to kind of upgrade with the tech tree. But I apologize if I'm not talking too much about the gameplay. I think it's there in the background. You can see what I'm kind of doing, what I've unlocked right now. I've done some leisure and more research kind of to expand there, but it's there. I'll probably do at some point, if you guys want me to, or if you want me to just use Town to City, this kind of game I'm playing in the background, if you wanted me to just use it as a background game where I do these kind of videos where I just sit down and talk about whatever, do let me know. If you want to see a video or videos of it where I'm actually sitting down playing the game and actually talking about what I'm doing in the game, let me know for that. I'd appreciate the sort of like kind of feedback of what you kind of guys want to see. Obviously the most people will kind of reply to what game they want to see. Now, with games on the channel, it will come at some point that maybe I'll go back to Train Sim Classic, Train Sim World. I'll see about re-downloading some of those or purchasing certain games to kind of get content back. I can see myself going back to like SCR, Stepford County Railway, doing some kind of content on that. I was thinking the other day of maybe doing, I have a game, City Bus Manager, and I've seen someone and a few people request that, and that was even before like when it came, because it's kind of a couple of years old kind of game right now, but that could be something. I've kind of loaded it up and had to play around. I think maybe this could be a cool little series. I'm not too sure. And then other than that, like, we could even try some other type of games where maybe they're not the sort of general common games that you sort of see on the channel, or you've seen before on the channel. So kind of like shooter type of games. The kind of games I only kind of currently play more socially is kind of Arc Raiders, a bit of Overwatch 2, Stadium, and I did play Marvel Rivals, but I'm not really that into it anymore. It's kind of like goes in ebbs and flows with when I kind of go back into that game with some of my friends. But I could do, you know, some like little bit of Arc Raiders, and again, it could be more so that I just record the gameplay of like, you know, doing something in Arc Raiders, like doing a run in Arc Raiders, and if it's a decent sort of like run, I just record it and just have it there as kind of background, for the video. So I think that's the thing that I kind of want to maybe do more of, if I want to get it into this more commentary style of video or podcast kind of style of video where I just kind of put whatever it is that I'm playing on. The gameplay doesn't really kind of matter for those kind of videos where it's just background, just fills in the kind of space and void. Like, to be honest, I could just put an image for the video, but that's at least not that kind of stimulating, just having an image and you guys hear my voice. So at least something's in the background, something is doing. And it is a game, like say with Counter City, where, you know, I'm doing stuff, I am progressing and putting stuff together in that space. So it is a bit of an interesting watch. And to be honest, it's quite nice now, just with this kind of like video where I did record this kind of gameplay. It was nice just when I was recording the gameplay, kind of just going full creative mode with it, where obviously I wasn't having to worry about what I'm going to say, like doing, because as I said, I think in one of my videos that I've come back with, is that when you do kind of live commentary with certain games, is a fine line to kind of balance talking and also playing in the game. Obviously certain games, and I think this is why my channel sort of worked well, is the games that I would play, like say Train Simulator or any sort of like train game where I was sort of driving the train, is that there's not much input to actually do anything in the game, where I could just, you know, have the game on and actually drive, say like the train in the simulator, and then I could just talk to my heart's content. But other games, like similar to like kind of with Counter City, if I was playing the game and actually speaking and, you know, discussing whatever I'm discussing in the video, is hard to do, and then having to go, oh, let me micromanage this little and build this little street and place all of these trees at the same time while I'm speaking about, I don't know, a certain topic, like, you know, being a train driver. You know, it can be done. I'm not saying maybe I've lost that skill. Maybe before, when I was doing more videos back in the day, I could do that kind of, you know, balance of playing the game and also speaking. But I think certain games work better for that sort of format where I'm just speaking at the camera. Oh, I say camera, the mic. When I'm speaking at the mic and discussing whatever, and then the game is there and it's very it has minimal input, and then I can just, you know, I can go flat out with what I want to kind of say, or what are my thoughts or topics or whatever that are just popped into my head in that time when I'm actually recording that video. So I don't know, we'll see how what kind of games I could play or do in this sort of style, where I just record the gameplay and then I record the commentary separate. And then there'll be games where I will record the commentary with the gameplay, and then it matches up and marries up much better and it's more cohesive. But again, any sort of feedback and any kind of like thoughts that you guys have, just leave it in the comments. I do appreciate like people giving the kind of their time to, like, you know, offer suggestions, because, you know, it is a community that I've built on this YouTube channel, and that's again the link with all the sort of like comments and really long comments that I've been getting on these past few videos since I've, you know, come back for this 2026 comeback. It's really just nice to see that I do have a little, you know, it's not like as I've said in this video, it's taking those long gaps. It is a bit of a detriment to sort of the kind of progress that you do for your channel. And obviously people, all 33,000 subscribers ain't gonna pop on and watch my video, you know, from taking a 3-year break. Like that subscriber count is probably, you know, people probably delete their accounts or don't log back into YouTube or move on, have different other creators and stuff like that, YouTubers that they have watched, and so that your channel then just kind of gets lost in the mix. If you're not posting stuff, you kind of just get lost in the mix. So yeah, I might have 33,000 subscribers still, but it's not like they're all active, and the loss of engagement is pretty high when you do those kind of gaps. But we'll see what we can do this time. Whether even getting new subscribers is going to be kind of interesting, because I think I'm kind of with this kind of comeback, I'm not kind of, I don't know if I'll go into that kind of sort of mode where I'm kind of doing new stuff to attract new subscribers or new viewers. There obviously could be certain times where I could get a new game that comes out maybe in the simulator space, and maybe that will, you know, pop off or whatever, and that will bring in some kind of views or whatever. But I'm not in that sort of mindset to kind of go, oh, what do I need to create? How do I need to tag or title this upcoming video to kind of get more engagement? I don't think that's in sort of my kind of, it's not in my mindset currently to kind of do that kind of way and produce YouTube content that way. I think I've had that sort of run and I've had that sort of time. And look, it could come again naturally. It could come again naturally. Like, I could just be posting stuff and just doing very minimal kind of engagement stuff with tags and titles and thumbnails. Because before, when I was in the peak of it, like, I was taking so much time with like thumbnails and stuff like that. Well, now I'm just kind of like, well, let me just get a screenshot. Let me just put some, my logo on it and just whatever, if it needs it, maybe the game's logo, chuck it on, and it's done. I still take, obviously, I'm not going to just, take a screenshot of a random bit in the game and then just put that as the thumbnail. Like, I'm not going to, I have a little bit of pride in what I produce and what I put out, but it's not going to be that kind of, same kind of way of pushing content forward to kind of see if I can get new engagement on it. It's basically for whoever's there still watching my channel. If you see it in your feed and you're like, oh, a bit of nostalgia, it's great. And it's also just for me to kind of get back into that sort of kind of creative space again. And that's, I've badgered on about it in this kind of video with being creative again. And I look forward to kind of doing more stuff and seeing what I can do. And even maybe there could be some IRL content in the mix of that at some point. Maybe kind of push away from doing maybe gameplay and maybe do some kind of like IRL stuff. I don't know how that could look. Maybe take up like model making and make like model trains and then just record my kind of time lapse of whatever doing it, or my frustration of doing it. I think one of my ideas for kind of maybe a kind of IRL sort of kind of thing for a video is eventually, if I get back into, say, OMSI 2, I think it would be really hilarious if I kind of get my webcam or whatever camera I have. I need to find this equipment. All this equipment is like, I don't know where it is, but I'll have to find it. But if I do an OMSI 2 comeback, which, look, I'm interested. I think there's been enough time. We've had the divorce happened, and maybe enough time has passed where I can appreciate, or OMSI can appreciate me, and I can appreciate OMSI, and we can maybe give it a go again. Rekindle some sort of. I don't know if there was ever any sort of kind of love with OMSI. I kind of. No, there probably was. I can remember some moments in OMSI or some, certain maps and buses I was playing at. I was like, this is nice. But generally, it was not a relationship I want to kind of remember. But maybe enough time has gone by where now I can appreciate OMSI a bit more, and maybe things could be better this time around. So a comeback for OMSI, I would say, could be on the cards. And my kind of idea is probably for something IRL related as well, is if I can record myself kind of like doing the whole setup of reinstalling and reconfiguring myself to the game. Whether it be me setting up my steering wheel again, which I've not done since probably the last time I've done a fan bus video, which... God, how many years ago that was that? But, me configuring up my steering wheel or configuring up a controller to work with it, and me just kind of, you getting my sort of raw reactions to just trying to reconfigure myself back to this game. Because some games, yeah, you can reinstall them and you can just go back into them and have a little play. Like, I could probably put on Train Sim right now. I can, read the controls again, because, like, I could just about remember the controls, but you know what I mean, just I can chuck that game on, I can fiddle about with it, and I can get going. OMSI, I don't think I could reinstall OMSI, and especially with the kind of like, I don't know where all my map files are, etc. Like, I have no idea. It could be like I have to start all over again, because, as I said, the two PCs that I've had from that original PC, where I used to have OMSI installed and I was making videos from that PC, these two next PCs that I had over the years, I've not installed OMSI, so wherever those original files are for my game directory for that, where all the kind of third party, second party, first party maps are, I have literally no idea. So it could be a very cool video. Well, it will not be a great video to edit and just produce, but it could be a fun thing once it's all compiled and edited. It could be a very cool, just even in itself, just the first video back in OMSI could just be everything to do with me just getting to grips with it again before I even sit down and just record just a normal gameplay kind of, gameplay footage of just doing a drive somewhere. It would just be all the build up of, would I bother even trying to install and use TrackIR again? Like these are things I don't know, and maybe could be quite funny. This is the thing, like this is the kind of stuff I'm kind of thinking of, maybe of content on the channel. It could be quite interesting. But again, do let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Should I get involved with that, with OMSI, or even any other sort of game? I don't know, like IRL content as well. But I don't know. Like I used to before. Obviously, you have my like webcam on certain videos and stuff like that. Maybe I might do that again. I'm not in any sort of kind of rush to kind of, as I said, live streaming as well. I don't know if that's something with the kind of shift work lifestyle. I don't know if I could commit to doing, because with live streaming you at least have to commit like something like 3-4 hours, and that's kind of a lot of time during my day. And coming back from like a very, very early shift, I don't want to be, the first thing I don't want to be doing is live stream. Well, I get back at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning. It's like, it's very hard to kind of for me as well to just kind of balance it all. So I don't know, I think live streaming, I'm not, never say never. I think for like live streaming, I think on Twitch I don't think I would do, but if I was to ever do any sort of maybe brief live stream or something like that, if there was like a particular game, or even just if it was just a sit down and just chat with viewers kind of thing, maybe I'll just do it on YouTube, keep it contained all to one kind of thing. I don't want to go multi-platform again. I don't think I've even updated my Facebook page for the YouTube channel, or I'm not even bothered, to be honest, on all the kind of other socials and stuff that I linked with my YouTube channel. I think I have it. It's all the kind of socials that I think I have linked to the channel. They're on the about section, and I think they're in the description, like for like my Instagram, my X account, that is it now, it's called, not Twitter, and Facebook and stuff. But I'm not gonna bother really update those kind of other places with it. It's just the content now I do, and the minimal content I do will just be on YouTube here. People see on YouTube, great. I'm not gonna try and do any sort of kind of outreach programs and try and, as I said, I'm not interested in the whole kind of push for engagement, push for new viewers kind of thing. If new viewers come along, like, hello new viewers, like, welcome to the QwertyAfro channel, great to have you here. If you like what I do, or if you like some of my older content, watch away to your heart's content, and new content, it'll just be kind of whatever. You might like it, you might not. That's the kind of thing. But that's overall where I kind of am at, and as you see in Town to City now, I've kind of gone a long way, and it's the town is expanding, and I'm keeping my citizens happy, and it's all kind of looking good. And I do like this game, I have to say. As I said, it's one of those city builders that I have had the kind of, it's been nice to kind of go back into it, while some others you just kind of go in and you kind of play once or twice and it doesn't really catch you back to kind of reload the game and kind of go back in and continue what you were doing. But this, I'm actually really enjoying it. I think the creative aspect of the game is quite nice. It makes you, I think most with other city builders, the kind of creativity doesn't push you to be creative as much. While I think this game is, it doesn't like force you to be creative, but it definitely presents the sort of options of creativity in a way that, like, oh my god, I want to just, what I'm doing here, like I'm just placing flowers around a monument, and I don't have to do that, but I kind of want to. Just it kind of just presents itself kind of nicely in the game, and it's nice. It's peaceful, and I do like it, and I will play. I think because I'm not doing that. It's not a sandbox or kind of free play mode that I'm doing. I within this sort of series of Town to City videos, but it's just a campaign. So I think I'll do whatever this map is. I think it's Belval. It's called Belval, whatever. I'll do that, and then maybe can just continue on the sort of campaign kind of maps and do the others. We'll see where it goes from there. One game as well that I would love to kind of maybe give a good kind of crack at it when it does come out is Transport Fever 3. I've always loved that series, and I'm really annoyed at myself that even back in the sort of heyday of my YouTube channel is that I didn't really commit a good series of videos to those games, because obviously it started off originally as Train Fever, and then it became Transport Fever, and then we got Transport Fever 2, and I think I did some videos on Train Fever, and then I think not a lot on Transport Fever, and I tried to do something on Transport Fever 2, but I never could, I was never really comfortable or happy with how I was producing those kind of videos, because really at that time I was looking at other people's kind of city building videos, and obviously most of the kind of format was, oh, do a time lapse at the beginning of the video of like the building in whatever part of the city and whatever part of like the transport network that you're building in the game, and then that would be like, I don't know, 5-6 minutes of just time lapse footage, and then you'd go into like footage of just live doing something like brief in the actual main video. And I kind of just I never felt happy. I think I did do some recordings and stuff, and I always try to edit it and try and kind of do something with it, but I was just never happy to kind of post it, and I never felt kind of I don't know, it just never felt natural for me to kind of post a series on, say, like Transport Fever 2. But I could maybe, because sort of maybe to the run-up of Transport Fever 3, I could do some more Transport Fever 2 content, or just do kind of like what I'm doing with this game, with Town City, just load up Transport Fever 2, do some gameplay in the background, and do a little bit of commentary with it. It could be something that I could think about, and I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. The thing with Transport Fever 2 as well is, like, over the years I've kind of had it like sort of as one of those games that I've had still installed on my computer, and I would kind of load into it and kind of mess about. The thing is, I would always do the same kind of thing. I always really just build kind of train stuff in that game. I never bother with like buses or freight, cargo, any of the other sort of transport. Sometimes actually, well, I did a bit of with the boats, with the ships, with the ferries. I did like kind of making piers and stuff and doing like ferry connections, whatever. But most of the time when I did go and have like those kind of like sessions to myself in that game, I just only really built train stuff, and only the modern stuff. I would always put the starting date as like 2000 or 2001. I never played that game from like the sort of like, I think if you just leave it automatically, it will obviously start from like 1870 something, where you have to go through all of those kind of steam engines and, you know, fire powered kind of crap. And I was like, no, I kind of just want the modern stuff. I can't bother to wait a century to kind of and have to upgrade all my vehicles and have to build all this kind of like old looking infrastructure. I get it. It's a very nice aspect of the game. Like, and if you want to kind of live through that kind of history of starting in kind of like an archaic time and then kind of building up to a modern time with modern vehicles and modern infrastructure, it's great. But I've always gone into that game, and anytime I start my kind of own free game, I always put the starting date as 2001, so I can get most of the modern stuff straight away. But I mainly just go in there, I just play around and build like high-speed lines, local service stopping lines. And I think I have currently a map that I've kind of just worked on a bit, so maybe I could do a video of that. Maybe just showcase what I've kind of built in that latest kind of like free game that I have on that game, and then kind of just use it as maybe a segue into making a bit of more content on that kind of series of game, Transport Fever 2, and then hopefully we can get into the build up for Transport Fever 3, because it does look good, I have to say, from all the kind of trailers and sneak peek previews of the different modes and features of the game, it does look very good. One game I was really upset about is, and I think a lot of people are upset about, is City Skylines 2. And that's a game that I did buy straight away. And I was one of those people that was on the hype, because I did like City Skyline. That was another game that I never sort of like got into that much with making content for the channel. I think I did a handful of City Skylines videos, but again, it was just, I never felt like great. I think at that time when I was just doing kind of train sim or van bus or those kind of simulation games, I think the city building kind of series of video on my channel kind of lacked a bit, and I just never really got into a comfort zone with it to kind of do a full length kind of fleshed out series. But City Skylines I did like playing, and I played quite a lot of it just privately by myself. And then obviously City Skylines 2 came out, and it was a complete shambles. And it's still like, I don't know how many years it's been released, but it's still quite the disappointment of a sequel, which, you know, we'll see if they come through with maybe another iteration with City Skylines 3 or whatever. But it's sad that City Skylines 2 never really wrapped up to anything what the first game was, because the first game was just completely monumental. It was just it's still probably the best kind of like city building game out there. But I digress. It's for me, it's more maybe if like kind of bring a sort of like new game onto the channel and build up to kind of like build up sort of kind of bit of hype for a new game would be kind of Transport Fever 3. So I don't know if you guys think Transport Fever 3 would be something you guys want to see on the channel, and then would like maybe a build up of Transport Fever 2 content. As I've said, I've doubled a bit. I have a free game that I've done on it. I built some sort of kind of train network on it. I could definitely kind of show you guys that, and do a similar kind of video that I'm doing here with Town to City. And I think we're almost there with the end of this this session, and coming up to near to the end of this gameplay that I've recorded. And you can see that I think I've done a good enough job here with kind of expanding out. It's like, look, I don't want to go crazy with this. Like, I could easily just draw, you know, tens of streets and just plop houses like crazy down and just go ham with it. But it's nice taking my time and kind of designing certain areas. And here now I've kind of done the nice kind of water fountain. I was contemplating where I wanted to put the water fountain earlier on, and I don't know if I do like the placement of it, because it kind of is weird having the water fountain placed right next to the lake. It's like natural water exhibit and then man-made water exhibit right next to it. But it's there. I've plopped it. I wanted to just use it, so I just kind of plopped it there. And it's an interesting contrast there between man-made and natural. But overall, I'm quite happy with how everything has actually turned out in this part of in this actual gameplay of Town City, of what I've kind of expanded on. And we are coming to the end of this little discussion, this little ramble with me, QwertyAfro, and I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of like laid-back sort of style commentary. And you might just put this video on in the background. You might even watch the actual visual footage of it. It doesn't matter. I've just been here talking, and I hope you've enjoyed the ramble. And again, thank you to all the people that have been commenting so far on the couple of videos that I've posted. I really do appreciate it. I've been reading it, and I've been just, you know, really taken back by some of the words that you guys have been mentioning. And who knows, I might try doing that voice note reply thing on comments. So if you're commenting on my videos from now on, then you might get a little QwertyAfro pop up as a voice note, as a response in the comments. So it should be something. And I think here now, I didn't actually showcase this in the first Town to City video that I did, but you can actually go into a walking mode. That's one of the core features of this game. You can just hop yourself down into your city and walk about in it, because essentially then it kind of like turns into Minecraft, doesn't it? So that's the kind of I think I end up doing here. I think I'm just, I think I was just trying to find it. Where was the actual the walking mode? I think yeah, you have to go into the picture mode, and then once you go into the walking mode, look, you can walk around, and you can be a citizen or pretend to be a citizen, or you can pretend to be your dictator mayor self. That's just like going around and be like, yep, I built this, I allowed you to live here, whatever. It's quite nice. Yeah, that's I hope you guys have enjoyed this we're on third video back on the channel. I don't know what next. Do you have any suggestions? What you think? I'll have some ideas. But it's been a pleasure, and keep the comments coming. I love them, and I will maybe do a little voice note reply on some of them. We'll see. But other than that, I hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll see what comes next, and I'll just leave you with this little bit of me just walking around with the kind of just checking out all the kind of little places like here, this little kind of like market road with the opticians that I popped down. I'll leave that here, and I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope you have a lovely day. I'll see you soon.